Come, let us explore the most powerful meditation technique in the world. But first, I gotta blow my nose. Spicy dinner. Okay. So what I'm going to do is tap button 14. Make sure, oh, my earbuds are still in. Don't I feel like a foolish, foolish fellow? Good grief. Okay. Feel like the Scarecrow in the Wizard of Oz singing, "If I Only Had a Brain." But instead, I invite you to chant with me. Nothing dispels the disinformation, misinformation, mythology, and superstition surrounding mindfulness and meditation, quite like neuroscience. Let us begin by considering mindfulness. Every time we inhale, we are wired to access the sympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way. Now, I think it would be fun if I put an image right there, just to make things make more sense. Please bear with me while I strive to find the right palette. Okay, this would be a good place. Come on, machine, don't fail me now. Whoops. This is really weird. Why? Oh, that's what's going on. Word. Word is being so odd right now. Cut and paste. What is going on? So let's see if I hit wrap text behind text, it won't let me move it. That is just the weirdest thing. Okay, well, let's try something different. Let's try in front of text. Nope. Wow. I'm being outsmarted by this version of Word, which is rather sad. So here's what we'll do instead. I'll go over here, and I'm going to hit let's see, let's hit home and center and insert and pictures. Let's hit this device. Let's once again go to pictures, Buddhist, nope. Let's go up one, let's go to neuroscience. Let's go to autonomic nervous system. Let's see, we can go to the sympathetic nervous system. And we're... Hi, thank you, Gail. Okay, so let's go over here and tap this button, and this button, and this button. Let's see how this fits on the screen. This is being far more bothersome than I anticipated. Okay, close enough for government work. Okay, take it from the top. Every time we inhale, we are wired to access a sympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way. Our sympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. But what have we evolved to notice? We have evolved to notice perceptions such as seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like. We have also evolved to notice the full spectrum of human emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. If this mindfulness is the natural function of our sympathetic nervous system, then why do we sit down every 12 hours or so to formally practice? Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun, the stirring or inhalation. Oopsie. We interrupt the habit of our clever cerebral cortex to compete against our sympathetic nervous system. And instead we set space for these two, this is tough, for these two, and instead we set pace for these I gotta put the accent here. This is what I gotta remember, so let's just put this here. And instead we set space for these two to cooperate. But what are we to do with all that we notice? With each inhalation we are wired to notice all manner of thing. From the internal to the external, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. What are we to do with all this? What are we to do with all the stuff? Meditate. So come, let us explore the neuroscience of meditation. Each time we exhale, we are wired to effortlessly and automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, this time at least I know what's going on. Hey kids, let's hit center and let's hit insert. Let's hit pictures, let's go to device, and this time we're going to go to the parasympathetic nervous system. Let's see if this fits, okay? It doesn't. That's no problem. We can just give this a little tug and check again. A little more. And a little more. All right, thank you for your patience. Each time we exhale, we are wired to effortlessly and automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system. Which is divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord we mentioned previously. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to support our physical relaxation and mental release of that which we noticed during our previous inhalation, to the point that that which we noticed could feel as not graspable as a vast empty void. Now any good English teacher could remind us that hostility is only as effective as it is relatable. Thus we have to ask the question, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although compelling to the eye, is not graspable to the hand? Thus as we could see, emptiness only makes sense when seen through a flexible worldview that accepts that not all statements are literal, requiring blind faith or pseudo-intellectual gymnastics. One might ask if this relaxing and releasing is the natural behavior of our parasympathetic nervous system. Then why bother sitting in mindfulness and meditation every 12 hours or so? Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verbiage during our exhalation, we are interrupting the habit of our clever cerebral cortex to actively compete against our parasympathetic nervous system. And instead we open space for these two to cooperate in a delightfully therapeutic manner. This is why the Buddha taught mindfulness and meditation. We turn now to our practice text. Let's see, I need to go over here. Welcome to the first of five mindful crease counting meditations. Let's rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger upon the tip of our left knuckle, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. And now let us play with this and the ease of mindfulness and meditation. So quick like a bunning, I'm going to change texts. All right. With so many teachers and authors offering to teach us how to meditate, often for a substantial fee, how are we to know upon which teacher or technique we should rely? Let's see here. Let's hit this one. Let's hit 12 and 2 more and copy, then reduce by 2, and then double check. Okay. Okay. Should we rely upon the teacher with the greatest? Oopsie. Beauty, fame, popularity, acclaim, wealth, resume, credentials, or letters of recommendation? No, no, and no. The proof of the pudding is in the tasting, and we test the effectiveness of a teacher's guidance in the laboratory of our body and mind. Here's how. First, we find a teacher, regardless of gender or nationality, and request teachings. We then enthusiastically practice the technique we're given for at least 5 minutes every 12 hours or so for 7 consecutive days. Note, if we're not up to the task of practicing thusly, then the prospective teacher is simply not our biggest problem. After the conclusion of the second practice on the 7th day, we vulnerably gaze within and ask, has this week of practice increased my peace and love. If yes, oopsie, then Mazel Tov, you found a teacher from whom you could benefit. If not, then follow up with that teacher. If they won't or can't help you, then to hell with them. Find a better teacher for you at this time. Whoops. $36. No, the test of a teacher's wisdom is not whether his teachings match with your preconceptions. Such a metric will only ensure we'll never grow beyond where we're at now. And for goodness sake, let us not put ourselves in the hands of a greedy fool who would sell the Buddha's teachings. If we wish to follow in the footsteps of the Buddha, be he real or merely archetypical, then we must bring a scientist's curiosity and enthusiasm to be methodical into our spiritual journey. If it sounds inconvenient, and maybe even a little scary, there's probably a very good reason for that. But is it worth it? Whoops, I did it again. The Buddha thought so. Perhaps this is why he devoted his talents and time to teaching mindfulness and meditation. Whoops, wrong button. Again. Wow, I really hit the wrong button. Let's hit home. There we go. And 9, 3, and 9. Okay. And I'm going to install the chanting notation to make it easier after our meditation break. Okay, thank you for your patience. Now let's prepare to meditate. Welcome to the second of 5 mindful crease counting meditations. Let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system could help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system could help us to physically relax and mentally release that which we noticed during our previous inhalation, causing that which we noticed to fleetingly feel less tantalizing, less permanent, and even less defining. Together, let us practice right now. Let's chant together. With so many teachers and authors offering to teach us how to meditate, often for a substantial fee, how are we to know upon which teacher or technique we should rely? Should we rely upon the teacher with the greatest beauty, fame, popularity, acclaim, wealth, resume, credentials, or letters of recommendation? No, no, and no. The proof of the pudding is in the tasting, and we test the effectiveness of a teacher's guidance in the laboratory of our body and mind. Here's how. First, we find a teacher regardless of gender or nationality and request teachings. Then we enthusiastically practice the technique we are given for at least 5 minutes every 12 hours or so for 7 consecutive days. Note if we're not up to the task of practicing thusly, then the perspective of a teacher is simply not our biggest problem. After the conclusion of the second practice on the 7th day, we vulnerably gaze within and ask, has this week of practice increased my peace and love? If yes, then mazel tov, you found a teacher from whom you could benefit. If not, then follow up with that teacher if they won't or can't help you. Then to hell with them, find a better teacher for you at this time. No, the test of a teacher's wisdom is not whether his teachings match with our preconceptions. Such a metric will only ensure we will never grow beyond where we're at now. And for goodness sake, let us not put ourselves in the hands of a greedy fool who would sell the Buddha's teachings. So this is where I'm going to add something. Okay, let us recapture our momentum. And for goodness sake, let us not put ourselves in the hands of a greedy fool who would sell the Buddha's teachings. For although optional donations could be lovely, the greatest offering we could make is the enthusiastic application of their instructions. If we wish to follow in the footsteps of the Buddha, be he real or merely archetypical, then we must bring a scientist's curiosity and enthusiasm to be methodical into our spiritual journey. If it sounds inconvenient, maybe even a little scary, There is probably a very good reason for that, but is it worth the inconvenience? The Buddha thought so. This is why the Buddha devoted his talents and time to teaching mindfulness and meditation. Come, let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the heart region of our chest. Together, let us practice the essence of mindfulness and meditation. And remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Let's see here. Let's tap. One moment, if you please. I'm going to swap out the chant. Please chant with me. Contrary to the ravings of 1001 self-help gurus, personal coaches, and con men, the experience of stress is not an indictment. Ask an evolutionary biologist and they'll tell you there are stresses. Oh, look what I forgot to put here. Some are circumstantial, some are physical, some are interpersonal, and some are mental. No stress or dukkha is not a smoking and proving that. We believe in the permanent or independent self, that we are arrogant, cowardly, or faithless. Our visceral response to stress evolved as an evolutionary mechanism in response to peril to keep us alive. To paraphrase Doctor of Philosophy Neil deGrasse Tyson, it could feel like the universe is trying to kill us. And biology has evolved mechanisms to respond to the danger appropriately. For life forms born without a stress response typically did not live long enough to reproduce and pass on the genetic traits. No sentient being is a stranger to the stresses of not getting what they want when they want it, not keeping what they like for as long as they please, and enduring that which they do not want. Birth is stressful, illness is stressful, even dying is stressful. Since stress from the petty to the existential is more of a rule than an exception, the wise develop strategies to deal with it, circumstantially, physically, interpersonally, and mentally. This is why the Buddha taught meditation. So that's a trifle redundant. So I'm going to trim the second to the last couplet. Let's see. Cowabunga. Still a little bit fuddled with this new computer. The keyboard, I'm still not used to it yet, so thank you for indulging my subtle ineptitudes. We come now to the fourth of 5 mindful crease counting meditations. This one's a trifle ungainly. Let us touch the tip of each of our of each finger of our left hand upon the great knuckles of our right hand. And then invert this and place it in our lap, palms up. Doing so could gently invite the real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the throat, in the region of our throat that feels as if it tightens just before tears. Okay, together let us practice. Let us practice the essence of mindfulness and meditation. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. We come now to this evening's fifth of 5 mindful crease counting meditations. Let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger, upon the tip of our left index finger, palm up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the crown region of our head. This is our final meditation of the evening, so let us make it count. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, we can simply notice mind's antics. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease, we can relax into mind's non-graspable nature. Let's practice. Let me jot something down real quick. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 13 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's morning meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.